Awesome. Congrats on the win, Coach.
Thank you.
Great start. Opening thoughts on opening game?
The guys came out fired up. They followed the game plan. They stuck to what we wanted to do. And I think the most important thing is that they played for each other. You can really see it when you get guys like Chris Gray, Mark O'Rourke, Daniel Buccaro, and Jake Caraway buying in on defense. I think that goes a long way, and it really shows to the other guys on the team that's like, all right, if they're buying in, let's all buy in. And it was just a really special moment for the guys to come together, get up there, get up and down, get acclimated to our offense, lock it in on defense a little bit more aggressively than we did in the scrimmage. But, the biggest thing is we just got to take the positives and negatives from today and just continue to get better.
Open it up for questions.
With the new format, when you hear about it, like, what's the number one thing you prioritize as a coach? Like, what's the first thing you thought about?
Substitutions.
Okay.
It's really important to manage the players because if they go up and down too many times, that minute break or 30-second break isn't going to be long enough, and they're not going to be able to play to their full potential. And so I say substitutions because it's managing the energy and effort that they have, and I want them to feel fresh while they're out there and be fresh for a 1-minute shift, kind of like in hockey. Most hockey players aren't on the ice for more than a minute, but you want to take those short, quick shifts, be smart so we can stay fresh because you don't want to fall apart in the fourth quarter where it means the most.
What do you think about the format overall?
I love it. I wish I was a player. Honestly, it's a really fun game. It's fast action. All my family and friends that were here were just talking about, like, I never realized lacrosse can be this fast, and it's like it's one of the it is the fastest game on 2 feet, but that just made it faster, and it's just a pleasure to be around the game and play. Jack, I mean, he's an outstanding goalie, and if you look at the statistics, he's a 60% save percentage inside, and he does really, really well with that. And so if we can press out on the hands and just eliminate the twos and allow him to try to hit singles, I think Jack can give us a great opportunity to make those big saves, and he does well with that, especially last summer and the summer before that. But he's very poised and calm and explosive, and so he makes the right decisions, and he uses his body a lot, that's for sure.
It looked like pretty early on in the game you made the decision to lock off Brad Smith. Was that something that you had in the game plan going in or after that first goal was scored?
Well, he's a great player. I think he's one of the best midfielders in this game. He's so crafty, both hands. He's shifty. He knows how to be deceptive when he dodges. And so I think the biggest thing for us is just making an important issue to have our guys, our defensive guys like Kobe and Dearth, really try to match feet with him and just go one-on-one and just try to win your matchups. It wasn't nothing against what we try to do strategically. It was just, let's get our best defenders on the best players if we can, and let's just go try to win our matchups.
Dan Arestia, go ahead.
Coach, congrats on that first win. You mentioned Jack Kincannon's play there. And as you look at the stat sheet, you see a save percentage for him of like 46, which in traditional field lacrosse is probably not that great. But in sixes and the game he had, you could say that looked incredible. As you kind of evaluate performance after a game and you look at the stat sheet, are there stats where you're just like, I just have to change the way I think about this because this format is just so different?
Yeah, I love stats. I love looking at all that. So when I get back into the locker room, I'll be able to look at the stats and break it all down. But I'm a big stat guy, and you have to be able to know where the big stats stand out, where the non-important stats are, and just try to focus on what can help you win. Like having that kind of save percentage in this format of sixes, I haven't looked at the stats and seen how many shots were actually taken or actually on goal. But having that type of percentage really builds confidence for our guys. And when you have Jack playing like that, the way he did tonight, you can see the guys building that confidence in themselves as well.
Other questions from Zoom?
Yeah, hey, Coach. Joe Keegan. You mentioned substitutions, the most important part. Looked like you guys were subbing a lot. Both teams were subbing a lot from defense to offense on the clear. That felt like the optimal time to get guys off the field. Were there any other subbing trends that you noticed? Like, was it easier to sub after a goal than after a turnover? Or what were some of your learnings on the sub game?
I would say anything that changed possessions is really important. Obviously, we want to try to get guys from defensive end to our offensive end because we have possession. And I always tell these guys, what can't the other team do when we have the ball? And it's score. Okay, let's be smart through our substitutions. But what's most important is that understanding that you excuse me, you got to go 100% when you sub and make sure you match feet with somebody else. You can't go rogue and just try to sub because then it's a 5-on-4 and that can be a 1 to 2 point goal. I know it's like little ticky-tack for me to think of, but when you think about those 1 or 2 goals, you can eliminate those mistakes, and those mistakes can be eliminated easily by just matching feet, subbing in the right time, and making sure that we're making the right decisions and getting the freshest people out there.
Dan, did you have a follow-up? Okay, no worries. Anyone else from Zoom? Other questions in the room? Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
Brian Romar, congrats on the win. Thanks for joining us. Opening thoughts from each of you on the game.
Yeah, we have a really youthful team, and you could see that energy today. I think we came out really excited to be here, and it's a great group of guys that like to play together, and I think that was we took advantage of that for sure. A lot of excited guys to play.
Yeah, and to kind of add on that, we always predicate ourselves on going out there and playing to the best of our abilities, but having fun, right? Like, this game is about having fun, especially with this new format going up, down, defense, offense, like pretty much like it's backyard lacrosse, and we really utilize that to the best of our ability and try to just go out there and make plays all over the field.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Sneeze out
The third one coming.
Questions in the room?
Romar, how are you liking that 13-yard 2-point arc?
I love it. I think it really suits my game, and yeah, it feels really close. Not only that, but just not having poles just get in your hands. It feels very open and like a very good shot for me.
I was just going to say, I like it for Romar, too. It's pretty nice. Yeah, I mean, it's as fast or as slow as you want it to be. You can really, if you want to, you can make it really fast. You can take the shots in the first 10 seconds. You can go up and down the field. You can press out, or you can really slow it down, try and get a lot of offense, a lot of picks, switches, whatever it is. So, there's times where you want to press it. There's times where you want to slow it down a little bit, but it really is a very fast game.
Yeah, I don't know if we could keep up with that pace all week with a game every day, but I definitely think we're going to be one of the faster playing teams.
Other questions in the room?
Do you feel like the pace, the constant change of possession, stuff like that makes the game, more watchable in the sense that it might reach more fans who aren't accustomed to lacrosse and might find it more exciting?
Yeah, absolutely. I know people have some really different opinions on sixes. I don't think it's going to replace anything, but I think the more lacrosse, the better, and I think it's really fun to watch. It's fun to play, and yeah, I think it helps the viewer.
Yeah, no, I reiterate what he said. It definitely is. It's fun for us to play, and it allows you to, not dwell on a shot, right? If you sometimes in the PLO, if you go and you miss a shot, you take a bad shot or it gets saved, you sit there and you're like, man, you don't get an opportunity for maybe another minute or two, especially if someone else is going in. But here you can't really do that. It's flush forget. You got to go on to defense, then you probably back on offense in the next 20 seconds. So it really is just a matter of going out there and playing one play at a time.
Any questions from the Zoom? Dan, go ahead.
Hey guys, thanks for making the time. Obviously sixes is a very offense-driven format as we saw, but something in the stat sheet is you guys caused 5 turnovers in this game to just 1 for the Whips. As you try and find those little possession advantages and parlay them into more goals, how big do you see a stat like a caused turnover stat, which is not an offensive stat really, being as the week goes on?
I think it'll be huge, right? So obviously this game it leads itself to being more offensive driven, a lot of goals, a lot of opportunities. People are shooting more from closer distances, but I think the winners are really going to be determined by who can play the best defense, who can play the best team defense, one-on-one, on ball, whatever it is. And if you're able to get 1, 2, 3 turnovers a game, you'll definitely be able to, create more opportunities. And then, next time they dodge, they're gonna think twice if they do it, and then it's gonna slow up or whatever. So it makes a huge impact.
Yeah. I like to just keep Jack happy. So I know when the ball goes out of bounds, we're going the other way, and Jack didn't see a shot. He's really happy, and he has our back. So as long as we got him going, he's our leader on the defensive side, and I like our odds when we're making stops.
Any other questions from the Zoom?
Yeah, I've got a question. Hey guys, Joe Keegan here. On the defensive end, how did you guys simplify the game plan? Seemed like in front of Jack, you guys were helping pretty well. Kobe Smith was flying around the field helping. Obviously, tougher to slide without a pole in his hands and more distance to cover. How'd you guys simplify the game plan and play team defense?
It's honestly very matchup oriented. They have guys. I think there's guys in every team that are pretty much only offense, and guys in every team that are pretty much only defense. So you just got to get to the right guys and then just play. Other than that, same thing that goes in regular field lacrosse. Like, keep them out of the middle. Don't let them get to their strength. Don't let them get one-on-ones. Nothing new there.
Last call for questions in the room. Awesome. Thanks for your time, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Coach, thanks for taking the time. Opening thoughts on the game and the result.
The game's more fun when I have Earhart and Bryce Young and all my defenders out there with long poles. Look, I've learned this over my career. You're never as bad as it looks on some days, and you're never as good as it looks. We learned a lot. I thought that the Atlas played very well. I thought they shot the ball very well. I thought that Concannon was a big difference maker, particularly early in the game, and he made us think a little bit.
Recording in progress.
When we were shooting. In a game where goalies aren't supposed to be dominant, I felt he was dominant tonight, and I thought they shot the ball extremely well. We have to become a better shooting team, and defensively. As we move through this event, we'll get better, and we'll be able to make adjustments. I thought that certainly they were a little more game prep ready. They had a plan, and they executed it. I'm not sure that we're there yet, and I think we learned some things today about in going forward. But at the end of the day, we got to shoot the ball better. I think if we shoot the ball better and the other team doesn't shoot the ball quite as well as the Atlas did today, it looks a little bit different. So, again, hats off to them. I thought they played extremely well. And, again, we're going to get better from it.
Open up to questions in the room. Yeah.
Coach, what do you tell your team in the locker room after this game?
Just what I told you. Right? The same thing we said at halftime. We're learning right now. And we're the only way that this makes any difference for us is if we learn from it and get better from it. We have a lot of defensive guys out there, right? So that balance, while at times it can be good for us, when you fall behind and you need offensive firepower, then that's something we can't afford to do. To me, Concannon certainly. They're very talented offensively, but I don't know. If I saw the stats, I'd at least six one-on-one, situations we didn't cash in on. So if we do a better job with that, particularly early in the game, we might have a little more confidence. It might look a little bit better or a little bit different. But again, we had talked about it before the game. While we're competitive during the game, and I'm certainly that guy that that wants to win. I also, recognize that, we're going to learn, and we're going to get better from this. A lot of young guys out there. There's not a ton of, there's not a ton of experience on the offensive end for us, and that's why this is a great opportunity for some of these guys.
What are a couple of things you may have learned in this game,
Yeah, obviously, people are going to focus on Brad Smith. So we got to put Brad Smith in positions that when people are doing what they did to him today and shutting him off, that we could take advantage of that. I felt like a couple times today there were a couple turning points, momentum moments in the game where we had opportunities and maybe we didn't take the shot that we should have. And, it came back and it ended up getting away from us, a little bit. Also, we hit a bunch of pipes. We've got to be better finishers. We got to take better advantage of the opportunities. We got to be more physical on defense. I think we allowed them to get to the middle of the field, and that's a problem for any goalie. So it's little things. It's all stuff that we you can fix. I mean, you put the ball in the cage and you're a little more physical defensively, and again, it might look a little bit different.
Do you feel like this format can help draw more eyeballs to the sport, grow the game in that manner?
Well, I think anything that we get to do at this time of year is going to draw interest, and it's going to have people thinking PLL, and these guys who are out there playing, it gets them out in front of people again. So I think the opportunity, we're on TV, so the opportunity to be out there and play at this time of year as compared to taking 9 months off, there's no way it can be anything but positive for us.
We'll go to the Zoom for questions. Dan, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, as you talk about making adjustments and learning from this, how do you kind of balance the split between we need to find a way to get more stops and we need to find a way to score more goals? Is it easy as you're still learning the format to think about which end of the field you want to try and focus on?
Dan, I think it's, it's a combination of both. I think if you put the ball in the cage, it's easier to get back and even up and make stops, right? We have defensive guys who, know how to play defense, and so certainly I believe that piece of it is going to be a little bit easier to address. On the offensive end, it's not as simple as it is as simple, but it's not as simple as saying shoot the ball better. We ran into a good goalie, and I think that had an impact on how we were shooting, and it made us think. I mean, look, Jay Carlson had, I think, 3 one-on-ones in front of the cage. That's Jay Carlson's game, right? And he didn't stick those today. We had opportunities that we didn't take advantage of, and again, we kind of lost momentum at times. We're going to address both of them. I mean, one impacts the other. You don't finish, you're running back and playing defense in a hurry, right? You take an early shot, you're running back and playing defense in a hurry. You miss the cage, you're running back and playing defense in a hurry. And I think you get a stop, you get an opportunity to jump on them on the offensive end. So I think they go hand in hand.
Any other questions?
Hey, Coach, DJ from Outside the Box. Just a basic question here. How much fun has it been being back the first couple of days?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
How much fun has it been being back?
It's been great. Again, it is an opportunity for some of our younger guys to get some experience at a high level. Roman's never played in a professional game before, and to step out on the field and this be his first experience, I mean, I can't imagine what that's like. The game is so fast and there's so much going on, so it's great for him. Brad Smith, it's an opportunity for him to legitimately be our number one guy, right? And he has the ability to do it, but with no Matt Rambo and no Zed Williams around him, it really, it's an opportunity for him to continue to emerge and grow, which I think he is doing. It's an opportunity to get better, right? Is this our forte necessarily for the Whipsnakes and the team that we have there? I think we can play this game, and I think we'll get better at it. But at the end of the day, when this week is over, we'll have spent a week together, and a week that we wouldn't have had in the past. And these young guys are, they're going to grow from it. They can't help but grow from it and get better from it for having a stick in their hand and being with each other.
Awesome. Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Ty, thanks for joining us. Thanks for the time. We're going to open with a question from Joe Keegan. Joe?
Hey, Tyler. Defensively, there's so much different about this format with no polls. How do you balance moving forward? How often you slide, and how much? How important is it to get the matchups that you want coming out of the box when guys are subbing on the fly? Is this a moving forward? Is the best version of the Whipsnakes defense a matchup conscious one, or one that plays more help defense?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a mix of things. I mean, obviously, we have offensive guys trying to get back on D and hold their own, and the team we played against today had a lot of guys that were dangerous from two. I think what we tried to do was sort of, as those guys are subbing onto the field, try to pick them up a little bit higher so that, you could take away, don't let them get a long run, take away the two. But sort of it was a pick your poison thing. They were sort of getting to the long dodge and getting underneath, and nobody was really there to slide because we were trying to guard the arc versus, being out there, and you got to either take the two away or take the one away. So I think it's a little bit tough. We'll sort of work on it, these next few days, get ready for Saturday. I think ideally we want to slide a little bit more, whether that's adjacent to guys sweeping over the top or when guys are coming underneath. Just make sure we have a body present. It's kind of tough for our goalies when we're leaving them one-on-one with guys on the doorstep.
Questions in the room?
Ty, what was your first impression of your new teammate, Roman Puglisi, in game action?
Yeah, I mean, I know Roman's been chopping out the bit to get out there. Missed him last year after he broke his wrist, but I thought he looked pretty good. He really came out in the second half when we were down, and he tried to set the tone a little bit. He sort of, wanted to make sure guys knew who he was out there on defense and mixed it up. And, I was proud of his effort. Obviously those guys were great. Dallas did a great job and really took it to us today. But, he really tried to set a tone in that second half. So I appreciate that. I think the rest of our guys do as well.
How much does the existence of the 2-point shot change your mentality while defending? I know you touched on it earlier with it's the one or the two, but just from a more general standpoint, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it completely changes the game. I mean, their team is sort of built to hit that shot. Obviously, Romar, Costabile, I know probably had a few today. Caraway had a few as well. I think a lot of it is going to be personnel driven. With this team, you want to make it an emphasis to take that shot away just because, if you're counted by twos, it's sort of hard to keep the game close. We'll see how other teams are. The Archers and Chrome, they have guys that could probably spread the field a little bit as well, but I don't think, that's a strength of this team that we played today. So I think if we get to see them again, we'll definitely put a greater emphasis on it, just getting out as far as possible, take away that shot.
Any other questions in the room? Dan Arestia, go ahead. Any other questions in the Zoom?
Hey, sorry, I was muted there. Hey, Tyler. As you watch the game as a viewer, here at home, obviously what jumps off the screen is the speed with which it moves up and down. But for guys like you, you're involved on both ends too. You get up and down a good amount, and you can see how much conditioning looks like it's going to be a factor at an event like this. How is your body feeling just after one game? Do you feel like you were in good enough shape to do this? And as you think about your recovery for games that happen so rapidly, do you think that's going to be something that, becomes a story for teams as this goes on?
Yeah, Dan, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm tired as hell right now. I think it definitely is going to define this tournament. We'll see who really, put in a little bit of work coming into it. We'll hit the treatment hard. Everybody's going to be running to the same issue where it's up and down the entire game. There's not a lot of time to rest on the sidelines, so it's really going to be a war of attrition, really. I think sort of as the game goes on, you sort of pick your spots of where you can rest. I think you have to rest on offense a little bit, but obviously you're trying to score goals as well, so that makes it tough. But we'll see. I mean, I feel like I'm in decent shape. Felt all right out there, but right now I'm feeling it a little bit.
Awesome. Thanks for the time, Ty. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Coach Fates, congrats on the win. Opening thoughts, reactions.
We were waiting to experience the first go at this, and it's as advertised, right? I mean, it's up and down. It's a fun game. I give our guys credit. I said it before. It's a good locker room. At halftime we understood just to stick with it. So I appreciate the leadership, and I thought we didn't make huge adjustments, but we stayed poised. We did a good job defensively. Goalies did a nice job. Both Nick and Krebsy, and then offensively we just got we scored 10 in the third and just got we got untracked a little bit there. It's fun for the first one, and then we're back to work and have another one tomorrow night.
Yeah, Kevin.
Hey, Coach. What was the biggest difference in the second half when you started finding the back of the net?
I just thought that we changed our shape a little bit, but I thought we settled down, took a breath and got into a little better spacing and kind of let our guys create. We shot the ball better, right? So I thought it started on the defensive end, but then we moved the ball with a little more confidence instead of I thought it stuck in the first half a little bit and some sticks and just a better flow and things opened up a little bit.
You mentioned this first go around that game situation. Anything totally surprised you or a game flow or just the format?
Yeah, it's as a coach and Coach Resch, our defensive coordinator, who coached the U.S. team, said this. He's like, you're going to be frustrated on the sideline as a coach because there's not a lot you can do because you want to go grab a guy and he's back on the field in a second. So that flow, but what that does is it gives ownership to your guys on the field, which I like. For us, you don't. It's not as frenetic if you don't make it frenetic. So we just tried to settle down. And I think, honestly, it's lessons learned for all of us as we go. It's, we kind of store this, watch some film, and then just kind of figure out, I don't think anybody's showing all their cards right now. Everybody's kind of getting their feet under them. So I think the progression of this week will be fun to watch how teams develop because it is new for everybody. But fans got the money's worth, I think. It was fun to be on the sideline, and I think probably fun to watch.
Questions from Zoom?
Anybody?
Marcus gave Jared Connors a shout out on the post game broadcast. Just during halftime, said he told everyone just to take more accountability on the defensive end. Just how important is more buy-in on that defensive end throughout this week?
We started on that. We started on the defensive end with our first Zoom, and have made that a point of emphasis. And I give our offensive guys who are on that end of the field a lot of credit for taking body and doing the things that are going to help us be a better unit. But Jared anchors us down there. I thought John Robbins was exceptional tonight. He's just this underrated, unknown kind of guy, but he just sits down and plays. On ball, and he's just tough to get around. But those guys give us an IQ and a good communication. And Jarrett is becoming a leader. That's why we're excited to have this opportunity and put him in that role and see him, take those next steps. As he's playing with a short stick which isn't easy, but watching him command a defense and establish himself as a leader. We're looking to him, right? And that's great for his growth and great for for the Archers.
Dan, go ahead.
Coach, another guy who had a great day for you, who maybe fans might not know as well coming in, was Jeff Traynor. 3 goals on 3 shots, an assist, a couple ground balls. What is it about his game that makes him such a good fit for this format in particular?
He's the Energizer Bunny, right? If you know him, he's got a load of personality. He's great to be around, but he's a tough nut. Like he wants to compete, and he can do a little bit of everything, right? We saw that at UMass when he was there, which is why we made a trade and brought him in. But so he's solid in the defensive end. He can run the field really well, and he's just got a knack. He's always moving, hunting the ball off ball, and in space with this game, you can, especially against short sticks, right? I mean, you can find your stick open, and if you're moving, that's what makes an offense go. Guys like that, and guys fed him. And found him, and give those guys credit. But Jeff did a nice job tonight. He gave us good energy early, and I thought that was great for us for sure.
Any other questions?
Hey, Coach. Yeah, Joe Keegan here. One of the unknowns coming into the tournament was that new 2-point line from 13 yards. Kind of gauging how much that's going to be used how effective you'll be from back there. Now, after tonight, you guys shot 4 for 10 from back there. Do you think that that's the appropriate amount of use of the 2-point line? Do you want to incorporate it more? Where are you at with the learnings on the 2-point line?
No, it's a great question. I think we're all trying to figure that out. You know, we've said it, like every shot's a turnover, so you have to be smart and efficient. You know, I'll take 4 for 10 for sure. And, you know, that helps you strategically, and, you know, it helped get us back in the game. You know, we had a couple late twos. So you feel like you're never out of it. So, you know, I don't think you want to take too much advantage early, or at least try to. I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we're the NBA where we're shifting, you know, everything we're doing. But, I mean, you have to respect it. It's 13 yards, man. And that's makeable, you know, even against the best goalies. So, you know, being able to stretch, you know, threaten with stretching the field opens up everybody else. So I think it we'll continue to see how that evolves. But it's, you know, it was big tonight. And obviously in that first game, we were watching the Atlas, you know, ping a bunch, and that was a key to their success as well. So it's it definitely has a big impact for sure.
Any other questions?
Good.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Will, Marcus, thanks for joining us. Opening thoughts from both of you on the game and the result.
I mean, sixes is fun for sure. Good second half from us, and lucky bounce at the end. So, you know, I think got a lot to learn, and you know, I think our goal as a team was just to have a growth mindset throughout this whole process. Right, every team is in the playoffs, so. You know, these early games are just kind of, you know, learning about ourselves as a team and how we work together as a sixes unit. So it was cool. I thought we got better from the first half to the second half. So that's kind of a mini win there in itself. And then, you know, whether we won or lost the game at the end, it didn't really matter. It obviously feels fun to win in overtime for sure. But that's kind of all for me.
Yeah, it was good for us to be down at halftime and hear a couple of guys speak. You know, you hear Matt Moore speaking in the locker room and Jared Connors, younger guys on our team that took a role, and we get to be together. That's why I think this is a really cool event for us in the off season, because these younger guys get to develop that and we build that trust. And, you know, the Chrome got 3 or 4 rebound goals that bounce right to them. And, you know, Marcus is right there, the garbage man, to pick up the last one. And, but it was just cool to settle into the game. I think that was for us. We picked one thing on both sides of the ball that we wanted to execute, and we did those, and that's why we clawed back into the game. And you know, we play again tomorrow. That's the best part. Ton of fun.
Questions in the room?
I know that second half comeback might feel like a blur, how fast it went, but can you pinpoint a specific turning point, either one of you?
I think, you know, again, Will said it, but Jared Connors just kind of fired us up, like, to take more pride in our defense at halftime. And, like, I don't know how the series went, but it was kind of cool. I mean, you know, I know Will watches a lot of, you know, basketball. I watch a lot of basketball too. Like, when we went stop, score, maybe stop, score, then, like, they call a timeout, you know, like in college basketball when the benches get hype and stuff like that. Like, I thought we got some momentum from that. So that was, like, kind of cool. And it just, you know, it made me realize how different and unique this Sixes style is. You know, I think it, you know, I played basketball in high school, so I think it's just kind of fun to, like, be an athlete in that sense, and taking the mindset that we're all equal, right? Like, Will and I are attackmen in field, but, like, in sixes, we're just as much defensive players as we are offensive players. So, like, just taking pride in defense, I thought we got some momentum from that. I think we cut it to, like, 14-11 was when they took the timeout.
Yeah, and we hit 2 or 3 twos in the second half, which are obviously huge as well. And Nick Washuta did a great job, and a couple bounces our way in that half, and that's what happens. We just didn't can the ball in the first half to stop the bleeding. We, you know, missed the net a couple of times. Scanoni made a couple saves, and that's how this game is. It's crazy. It's fast, and you just gotta, you know, a thing that Jared Connors brought up was, if you make a bad play on the O end, you know, forget about it and make a good play on the D end. Don't carry that attitude or that bad mindset to the D end, because then you're going to mess up there. It's got to be short memory, and that's what I think this is a really good opportunity for us to build off of, coming down from 6 and winning in overtime. So.
What makes it fun other than, you know, is it just that free flowing
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely more like box lacrosse than field lacrosse, I would say, just from the nonstop element of it. And like, I think, we play attack and field, like I said, so half of the game we're not involved, right? When the ball's down the other end of the field, like we just stand there next to our defenseman and we wait till we can play offense. I personally consider myself a lacrosse player before an attackman. So like, I love to just run around and play, whether it's sixes or box or whatever. Like, I just feel like you're more involved and it's a little bit more fun. And I think the general consensus from our team is that guys are having fun with it and figuring it out. And
getting a defensive stop is hype
for sure.
I had a deflection and a ground ball. I was like, let's go. And it's like that's why taking care and appreciating your D middies and your poles and guys and outdoor is so important, and hugging them in timeouts and saying, keep doing your thing and do your job, because those make a difference when you eliminate a possession for the offense, and it's fun, and when you have those younger guys, John Robbins, JC, Jeff Trainer, all hyping you up to play some defense, it's fun, and being a lacrosse player, that's the best part.
I absolutely soaked a shot. I can't wait to watch it.
Got to tell Palin. Palin thought it was a reset.
I was just here, just turned my shoulder, hit me right in the back.
You're just nodding.
And then I soaked one on our end too. Grant hit me right in the back too. I was like, that was tough. Could be some bruises tomorrow for sure. But we're back at it, baby. 24 hours. Let's go.
Hey guys, in that third quarter, you had scored 8 goals in about 3 minutes of game clock, and you had 6 different players score a point during that run. Do you guys feel as a group that, like, hey, in this format, at any given time, we are capable of just like a ridiculous offensive flurry like that? Like, you're always just right on the cusp of that kind of output?
Yeah, and I think this style of play fits our offense, Dan, better than most teams. We play a lot of pick and pairs offense with the Archers. And for us, it was, we took a bunch of shots. We just didn't can them in the first half, and we got to get them on goal and be a little bit more patient in getting our offense set up and then playing. And then those looks were there, right? We, when you had the opportunity to get to the middle and shoot, or if they slid, we had space and time to see where they're going to be going from, and then we canned them. So, everybody can score, right? It's at 13. Anyone can pull up from 2 if someone goes under a pick. And then we got guys that can get to the middle of the field and guys that can handle it on the inside. And we have a majority of our team here from, the original summer, this past summer, right? Our only new name is Krebsy and the goal. Everyone else really knows what everyone's strengths are, and we tried to play to those.
Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, Will, I wanted to take the basketball analogy a step further here, because you often hear really good basketball coaches, specifically in college basketball, talk about defense turning to offense, right, and how easy that can make offensive opportunities. And I think you guys had one tonight. I think it was Ambler basically had the equivalent of like a breakaway layup, right, where it's 2-on-0, a situation you wouldn't normally get in field lacrosse. Because what role do you think defense can play as far as creating transition opportunities for offense that maybe we don't normally see in the field game?
Yeah, I think it's just, leaking up when you kind of get those opportunities. Like, I think in general, teams are going to be very conscious of not giving those up. But, I think just being a savvy player, Ryan Ambler does so many little things for us. I'm just going to shout him out quick. Like, he had that goal, and then when I scored my 2 to bring it within 1, he was the guy that got the ground ball, carried it up, threw it to Matt, who then threw it to me. He had that hockey assist. So, like, he's a guy that's just, like, so reliable as a teammate, and that's such an admirable trait to have. Like, you can talk about a scorer, a passer, an athletic player, but, like, someone who's reliable that's such a great attribute to have, and I think that kind of just is Ryan Ambler. In a nutshell. I know that's not really answering your question, but yeah, I mean, if we get those lucky bounces, like, we're going to try and sneak up field and get 1 or 2. I think I had a breakaway that I scored on, and then I hit the pipe on another one, which probably shouldn't hit the pipe on a 6-foot goal when you're 2 feet away, but it's all good.
Yeah, I think if we had 1 or 2 extra guys, you'd be able to run and gun a little bit more, but I think you could control the pace of the game and settle down. And we're good 6-on-6 both sides, or 5-on-5 both sides, just like we are in outdoor. So we settled into the game, and that's what happens, right?
Any other questions from Zoom?
Hey guys, Joe Keegan here. Will, you mentioned the on-ball two-man games that you guys were working. Looked like the off-ball two-man games were working really well too. Sometimes it was you two together. Jeff Trainer was getting involved. Ambler too. What'd you see from the defense against those, and how what made those work so well?
Short sticks everywhere. It's wide open. There's a lot of passing gaps. We're going to work on that in the next 2 games. We have a couple of set things that we have on backsides that I'm not going to say out loud, but we have some motions that we want to get down, but it's a feel out thing, right? If you hear the defense saying this, we're going to do this. If they're saying this, we're going to do that. And, no one's better at setting a seal than Ryan Ambler on the backside with me as a lefty. And, I got my righties over there to feed, and, just the simple connection, right? There's in the scrimmage last night, I'm standing on the crease thinking nothing's there, and you just pop up 2 steps. Deso hits me, and then Grant hit me today. And, me and Marcus are looking for that as well. When it looks like we're just trying to settle down and someone just pops open, there's just room for that to just take advantage of and try to beat the whistle on it kind of thing. So,
Joe, that was literally our only offensive halftime adjustment, was move more off the ball. Like, work together off ball. That was our only halftime adjustment offensively.
And finish the ball.
That helps.
Any other questions? Thanks, guys. Congrats.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, guys. See you tomorrow.
Oh, man.
Thanks, Colin, for joining us. Quite a thriller. Opening thoughts on the matchup and the result.
Yeah, obviously it's good to get the first one under the belt. Tough way to start it off, but I think, it's good for us. There's a lot to learn from. At the end of the day, I thought we played together. There's a lot of great effort out there. And again, we'll just go back, watch some film. You live and you learn, and, just getting ready for the next one.
Open it up to questions in the room.
How are you feeling physically after a game like that?
I feel beautiful. I'm ready to go. I might go jump in the pool, actually, and do a couple of laps with Coach after this.
Colin, there's been a lot of talk that conditioning, getting your wind up, is a big part of this game. How do you feel after one game? I know you said you could just jump in the pool right now, but do you now, I guess, going into another Sixers game after this one, how are you going to feel?
Yeah, I think people have said it before. It's kind of back, club lacrosse when you're in high school. You're just kind of going out there, you're playing every day, and it's fun. You're getting out there, you just kind of running around with your friends. Obviously, it's a lacrosse game at the end of the day. It is tiring, but, I think we're at a point in our lives that, treatment is key. Do some ice baths, and just take care of our bodies just like it's a regular week.
We'll go to Zoom for questions. Dan, go ahead.
Hey, Colin. You guys, like we've just been saying, have a quick turnaround here to a game tomorrow, and I believe it's against the Atlas tomorrow. I don't know if you got a chance to watch some of that matchup earlier tonight, but that's a team obviously that was big, hitting a lot of goals tonight, a lot of scoring in that one, as you can imagine, like there was in yours. Have you started thinking about a matchup already? Like, do you already have to be in the mindset, all right, I got a game in 24 hours, I need to be thinking about the Atlas already?
Yeah, no, we didn't watch any of the game before. Obviously, we were focused on the Archers. They're a great team, so we had a lot to focus on in that game. And at the end of the day, we're just taking one game at a time, one day at a time. So we'll go back to the hotel, do some treatment, and get ready for tomorrow.
Other questions from Zoom?
Now you have world lacrosse experience and lacrosse in this Sixers format. What was the biggest difference stepping out there on the field today?
I'd probably just say, obviously the backing up the shots. It's tough, you kind of still have that instinct when somebody shoots it to kind of back it up. But now you kind of just got to turn and get back in the hole. So yeah, it's new for everybody. There's a lot of different changes. It's fast paced, but at the end of the day, it's fun. It's a blast being out there with the team.
Yeah, Josh, go ahead.
Colin, I'm curious. It seemed like physicality plays a role when the game seems a little tighter out there. You guys obviously have a big team, and it seemed like you guys might have used that to your advantage tonight. Do you think that's sort of how sixes might play out with you guys being bigger? Do you think that is to your advantage?
Yeah, I think we're still trying to figure it out. Obviously, it was pretty physical, which it's always fun. But at the same time, as you can see, speed is always a good thing to have. So again, we're still trying to figure it out and see what works best for us. So yeah.
Anything else from Zoom? Anything else in the room? Okay.
Colin, you were mic'd up for this game, and they caught you on the microphone saying that the Archers should stop whining. Would you care to elaborate on that?
Just having fun. I don't know. I got a lot of buddies over there. We're just going back and forth, and it's all love at the end of the day, and just trying to get the energy going. Yeah, I think it's great. I think we mentioned it before. It's awesome knowing that you're going out there. They're short shifts, but your offense, your defense, and you're out. So you have a short time frame out there, so you want to give it your all. And at the end of the day, you're just it reminds you a lot like high school ball. You're going out there, you're just kind of flying around, and you're just trying to be an athlete at the end of the day.
Thanks, Colin.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate the time, Coach. Opening thoughts, quite a thriller.
Great game, great opponent. It's fun to watch. You realize this format, it's a player's game. There's not a whole lot of coaching going on during the play. It's just so fast. And it's, obviously the fans, I'm sure, had a great night tonight. And so proud of our guys and going to keep moving forward. A rebound and bounced right to the guy, and that happened for us a couple times earlier on, and it happened at the very end of the game when it's a sudden victory. So two teams that were even, and it was ebb and flow going up and down the game, and at the very end they got the best of it. So,
Coach, when the Archers were making that comeback in the second half, was that more something they did differently, or was it your team slowing down in the second half?
I think they came out because they were down and they had energy and they had focus, and we knew they were going to come out swinging, and we were going to try to combat that. But kudos to them because they had that energy and they executed. There were some pick things that we had to adjust to, and that hurt us a little bit. But they're a very good team. They're not going to sit down and obviously just quit. So,
any questions from Zoom? Yeah, Dan, go for it.
Hey, Coach. Sean Scanoni had a great first half for you. And I think it was part of the plan to kind of play both goalies. Does it remain that as the plan to stick with guys split in halves, or do you see a situation where one could kind of just become a goalie for a game, or maybe split games or something like that instead?
Our plan was to play both goalies all the way out through the week and see what happens. So it will be our plan to play them both. And we told the guys this is a process. And so we want to get better every day. We want to have the guys work on the things that we're working on and try to see how the game plays out and how we have to adjust to the game. And the goalies are doing that too. They're figuring out, how they have to dial into certain shots or certain people. And I wouldn't want to be a goalie in there, I'll tell you that right now. And Owen's a heck of a goalie. So he came down. He's part of our family. He's going to be here playing just like Sean. And then as it gets closer to the playoffs, we're going to make the adjustments we need to make.
Other questions from Zoom? Anyone else in the room? Thanks, Coach. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.